you have mitzvah with kavanah, you're going to want more. You're going to want more. On the other hand, he says, if you're not careful, you're going to start making sins. But the Satan doesn't come to you with Chilul Shabbat right away. He comes to you with small little thing. He says, listen, salad, you can buy it from anywhere. Salad, you can buy it from Starbucks, this box, that box, Subway. You can buy it anywhere. Yeah, but the rabbi said that there's worms. There's worms, and the Goyim don't have to wash their salads like the Jews. They don't have to put it in salt water. They don't have to put it in soap water. They don't have to do it. So it's going to be worms, and it's a sin. Yétzer tells you, come on, you believe him? Look at the salad. It looks delicious. You think there's worms in it? If there's worms, they already died. Yétzer comes to you with a small little thing. It looks like it's not a big deal. Yétzer comes to you and says, no, come on, you coming to the party? Come on, it's your best friend. He's having his vert. He's having a celebration. Just got his zivug. You're not going to go. He's like, no, but come on. There's going to be modesty over there. His wife is not exactly the most modest person in the world, and her mom is even less modest. I'm going to go see that. It's like, no, come on. He's your best friend since kindergarten. You're not going to go see your best friend. Wish him mazal tov. What kind of friend of you? Small little thing. It looks like a small sin. What is this like? This is like, you ever see circuses? Circus. And this big elephant. Thousands of pounds. Bigger than 5 cars. Elephant. Huge. Giant. But the trainer has him on a tiny little dog leash. You ever noticed that? Giant. Thousands of pounds. Elephant. And the trainer brings him to the circus with a tiny little leash. Come on, little pushy. Come. Elephant can eat the guy. If he really wants to, he can just go like this. The guy flies across the circus. He becomes a circus. Why is the elephant going? Why is the elephant listening to him? Why is he listening to him? Tiny little leash. This leash, even if the guy is as strong as the guy that pulls planes with his teeth, if the elephant wants, he breaks the leash. Why is he coming with this tiny little leash? Same thing like our Yétzer. Our Yétzer is the same thing as the trainer. He trained us. He trained us since we were little. When you were born, you were only born with the Yétzer. Yétzer Tov didn't come until your bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah. So that means that since you were a baby, little baby, Yétzer has been training you with tiny little sins. First sin was, go slap Ima in the face, 3 years old. What's she going to do? So he goes, tach! And he starts laughing. He thinks it's nothing. It's cute. He's a little 3 years old. It's actually kind of cute. It's funny. The father's laughing. First thing he does, he slaps Ima. Next thing you know, the Abba gets it also. He thinks it's cute. Everybody thinks it's cute. It's funny. Yétzer says, good. Get used to these small little things. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's cute. Get away with it while you can. Next thing you know, no, there's chocolate in the store. Take it. Put it in your pocket. 6 years old. Put a little chocolate in his pocket. Stole it from the store. No one knows. Yétzer knows he knows. He's going to remember it 30 years later that he put in the chocolate. Abba doesn't know. Ima doesn't know. Yétzer knows. He's training them little by little. By the time he's 13 years old, Yétzer already has him on a leash. By the time he's 20, he's a giant elephant. He's 300 pounds. But he's walking with a tiny little leash. The Yétzer doesn't even have to try anymore. Yétzer doesn't have to try anymore. Just go look over there, look over there, look over there, look at every single woman that walks, look at her. So that's why you see the guys that walk in the street, like you're one of those fountains of water. They look at anything that moves. If it has a body, if it has something, it goes. Even sometimes if it's a mannequin, they'll look at that too. Everything they look at. And wives sometimes ask, oh, my husband, he's not paying attention to me. He's not paying attention to me. He's hanging out with his friends. He's not this. He's not that. I don't know. What's the first question you ask? You have a TV in your house. You have a TV in your house? Yes. Is the TV connected to a cable channel or some news network, or is it connected to a computer where you're just watching, let's say, some pre-programmed, Torah or something like that? No, he watches cable every day. Oh, he watches cable? Okay, that's why. What do you mean? What does it have to do with him looking or me not paying attention or something like that? I'm like, no, because he's already married to 50,000 other women. Every night he comes home, he sees on the news channel, on the HBO channel, on the Showtime channel, on all these channels, he sees all the women that he wants to be with. And then he looks at you, Tisha B'Av, you're in your pajamas. He says, this is what I have, this is what I have. He compares, he doesn't want to look at you anymore. It's your fault, not his fault. It's your fault. Your fault. You let him look at other women, voluntary. You're even watching it with him. Oh, honey, let's watch Desperate Housewives. Oh, a show about immodest women, Shem Rachem. Just say, let's watch it. Let's just go to Gehinnom and have fun. Go to the beach there. It's your fault. It's your fault he doesn't like you. It's your fault he yells at you. It's your fault he thinks you're fat. It's your fault he thinks you're not this. Why? Because you're constantly telling him, go look at this girl, go look at this girl, go look at this one. You're bringing him the girls. What do you expect him to do? Not look? What do you expect? You're bringing it to him. You're bringing it to him. Honey, let's go watch the show together. Let's go to the movies. Watch this new actress that's half naked or sometimes completely naked, but she got $25 million and people think it's a good thing. Meshalem el oivav el panav le'avido. Hashem pays them to their face to destroy them. Woman goes naked, shows the whole world that her body naked for $20 million. She's the stupidest person on earth. But you bring him to the movies to go watch her. Look, what do you think of her, honey? Well, I thought of her much better than I think of you right now, but I have to go home with you and not her. That's what he really wants to tell you. And when I'm going to be with you later, I'm going to be thinking about her. That's what's actually happening. But whose fault? It's not him. He's the elephant. You've become the trainer. The wife became the trainer. The wife became an employee of the Satan himself. Why? She's bringing him to the wolves. And you're surprised. He's looking at other women. He doesn't like you anymore. He doesn't want you anymore. He doesn't this. He doesn't that. So, all these women that are having shlom bayit issues when it comes to that, the first question is, do you have a TV? Do you watch movies together? Do you do all that stuff? If you do, that's the reason. It's the first reason. Why? It's too much of a bait for him. Too much. No man can withstand it. We're not women. We don't think like that. Women look at a guy and they think about his personality. Oh, wow, he looks so nice. He's so funny. Ha, ha, ha. A guy doesn't think about a personality, and even if he's married to her for 20 years, he doesn't want to know our personality. Why? Because a guy's an animal. Without Torah, he's 100% an animal. So now, the Satan is training us since we're little babies. Only weapon we have is Torah. Only weapon we have. Without Torah, we're the elephant that's being pulled by a little string. And eventually no string. He just tells us what to do. No, lift 2 legs, lift on your head, lift on your knee, lift on this. Without a string at all, you're already doing tricks. You're doing flips, you're doing this. Why? Trained really well. So he says, why? Why did this happen to us? Because you weren't excited to do mitzvot. It's not because you were excited for the sin. It's all started because you were a lazy bum and you didn't chase mitzvot. Instead of going to Beit Knesset, you wanted to sleep till 11. Instead of going to Shiur Torah, and you wanted to watch it on YouTube. You didn't want to drive an extra half hour or an extra hour to go Shiur Torah. You wanted to watch it from the convenience of your couch with the popcorn. He says you weren't willing to do Mesirut Nefesh for the Torah. That means you didn't have the merit of Torah. And on top of that, you had to occupy your time with something. Shlomo HaMelech says, boredom leads to sin. You do nothing, you're going to end up sinning. You have to do something. Now, the first sin, small sin, tiny sin. What's a small sin? 1 minute. 1 minute. Would you say 1 minute? How much bad could possibly happen in 1 minute? What could possibly go wrong with 1 minute? And if I told you that 1 minute, and really 1 second, is the difference between life and death spiritually forever, would you believe me? 1 second is the difference between you being lazy or you being excited about mitzvot. It will make a difference of whether you survive Yom Kippur or not. Why? That 1 second, if you started to think about Shabbat on Friday afternoon, that means that by the time you finish cooking, there's only maybe 15 minutes late, 15 minutes before Shabbat comes. You go take a shower, you go get dressed, before you know it, you light the candles, mitzvah, kedusha, wife lighting candles. This is one of the 3 important mitzvot that we say in Shabbat, in Masechet Shabbat. There's 3 important mitzvot for a woman. 3 mitzvot. Shabbat, the actual lighting of the candles, the challah, and nida. 3 critical mitzvot that they review in Shamayim on a regular basis. When? When the woman is about to give birth. Why when a woman is about to give birth? Gemara Masechet Shabbat, page 34, I believe. It says that at that moment she's in sakana, she's at risk. Malach HaMavet comes to Shamayim and says, look, Hashem, she lit the candles. She lit the candles every Shabbat. Every Shabbat, she was 1 second late. In Shamayim, that's Chilul Shabbat 100%. 1 second, 1 second late means you lit candles, you lit fire on Shabbat. 1 second. I'm not talking about 20 minutes, a half hour, or you decide like the Reform people to light candles like in the afternoon on the next day because it's nice and it smells good. No, we're talking about you thinking you do mitzvah. Mitzvah 1 second into Shabbat is the difference between life and death at the moment she's about to give birth. Satan comes to Shamayim, look, that one time she was late. Why? Because she was playing, she was talking, she was saying Lashon Hara all afternoon. She was on the phone with her friend and her sister and that one and this one. She forgot about Shabbat until 1 second before Shabbat. She lit the candles, but it was too late. It was already Shabbat. At the time of pregnancy, the Gemara says, this is the reason in Shamayim they decide to kill her. Why? She has to have merit to survive pregnancy. Not the pregnancy the whole 9 months, but pregnancy in essence, the actual labor itself and actually having the baby. And people think, I used to think, nah, this doesn't happen anymore. Today, modern technology, medical technology, no one dies. Yesterday somebody died. 2 days ago somebody died. A week ago, a week and a half ago. Every day you get Shem Achem, so many news. In the same place, Rabbi Ephraim, God bless him, him and his wife just had a baby boy. She said, the woman next to me gave birth, same time, went home, everything was fine. Came back, she had a little bit of pain. 6 days later, they checked into her, she died on the table. After 6 days, you're already home, you're already celebrating. I had a boy, I had a girl, I had a whatever. 6 days later, Malach HaMavet was still waiting. People think this doesn't happen. It's far away. No, it's happening. You just don't know. It's happening. So, the 1 second difference made a difference. We don't know for her or anybody else. The point is, the 1 second is the big difference. But Satan tells you it's not a big deal. Another is nida. The other mitzvah is nida. A woman must go to the mikveh every month in order for her to become purified and to be able to be with her husband. This is not only because of intimacy. This is also because you're not even allowed to touch his finger. You're not allowed to touch your husband's finger, and your husband is not allowed to touch your finger if you're nida, finger. A woman came to the Chachamim and says, look, my husband was Talmid Chacham, but he died. I thought the Torah says that if someone learns Torah, Hashem protects him. Chachamim didn't have an answer. She kept crying. This is in the Gemara. Eliyahu Navi comes. She goes to Eliyahu Navi, Elijah the prophet. She tells him, my husband learned Torah, did mitzvot, but Hashem killed him at a young age. What kind of God is this? And he says to her, when you were nida, did he touch you? No, chas v'shalom. No, he never touched me, never touched anything. He never touched even my finger, he wouldn't touch. Nothing. Oh, okay. Did he sleep with you in the bed? Not intimately, he just slept on the other side. He slept on one side of the bed. same bed. I slept on the other side, but he didn't touch me. Eliyahu Navi says in the Gemara, Baruch Hashem that Hashem killed him. It's El Melech Ne'eman. We can rely on this God. Why we rely on God? He's emet. He's 100%. That's the truth. Why? You're not allowed to put yourself in that jeopardy. Not allowed to sleep with your wife in the same bed. Either have two beds right next to each other, sleep different bed, whatever. You're not allowed to be in the same bed. So now Nida, it's a more important mitzvah. Most Orthodox Jews know this mitzvah. Now one thing that the women may not tell you is that there's a woman in the mikveh that watches. Why do they have a woman? What, people don't know how to go. They go to the pool every day for 30 years. They don't know how to go into the pool. 30 years they go into the pool. They don't know how to go to the pool. Go in the pool, that's it. Why do I need somebody to look at me? For what? What's this for? What's this woman for? It's annoying. Come on. No, it's not that they see you naked. The point is that's invading your privacy. Why? In reality, if it's a woman with yirat shamayim, not one of these reshaites that tells people lashon hara about you after you leave the mikveh. Talk about honest women that have yirat shamayim. Sometimes you have women that they're at the mikveh just because they want to know everybody's business, or they make fun of people and stuff like that. There's reshaim. Don't worry. There's a lot of reshaim. There's reshaim in the world. There's one mikveh here in Florida. Hashem Yirachem rejected one of my students. Told no, don't come here. Tzadika, Kdosha came to mikveh, told don't come here. Don't come to the mikveh. There's somebody like that, you need to pray for somebody like that to die. If we were allowed to pray for another Jew to die, I would pray for this person to die. Somebody like this. A rabbi tells one of my students not to go, because he's racist, because he's prejudiced, because whatever. Somebody like that, if it was allowed, I'll pray for him to die. That's how much I hate him. You're allowed to hate him. But anyway, when someone has yirat shamayim, they're trying to save your life, really. Why are they trying to save your life? Because we said if a man is with his wife when she's nida, a man is with a woman, she's nida, all these single guys that have girlfriends and they act like they're married, should know she's nida. And that's isur karet. That is the worst sin. That's karet. There's 36 different sins that in Shamayim they cut you off. It's like Chilul Shabbat, or Avodah Zarah, or idol worshipping. It's isur karet. You're with a woman that's nida, it's isur karet. This is horrendous. Rambam says there's no recovery from it in the next world. Recovery here, you can do tshuva here, but if you go into Shamayim with karet, there's no recovery. There's no tshuva in Shamayim. So this woman, she has yirat shamayim, she's trying to save your life. Why? Because if you have one hair, you have tens of thousands of hairs on your head. Tens of thousands of hairs on your head. One hair. You have tens of thousands of hair on your head. One hair sticks out of the pool that you've been going to for 30 years. One hair, one single hair sticks out, you still need that. You still need that. That's why the law in Judaism is to have somebody over there. See, why? Your hair needs to be inside. It's not that you don't know how to dip in the pool. But you don't see your hair, what happens to it? It can be sticking out. One hair is the difference between Nida and Torah. One hair. Satan says, nah, come on, she's invading your privacy, she's annoying, these rules, these this, these that, crazy, machmirim. No, shaving your life with it. But Satan tells you crazy things in your head. Another thing is modesty. I don't know how many women I see when they come to Shurei Torah, or they're in the kosher markets, and, you train yourself eventually, you have a reflex. You see a woman, you look away. But there's still a half a second, 1 second that you see the person. And the Yétzer lets you see the person, and what ends up happening is you see how they're dressed. So I don't know how often it happens where I see someone that says, oh, Baruch Hashem, this is a tzaddiket. Why? Most women are 6 inches from Gan Eden. Most women are 6 inches in this generation. I'm talking about religion. I'm not talking about the secular people. Secular people are not wearing clothes at all. I'm talking about most religious women, religious Jewish women, 6 inches from Gan Eden. 6 inches. What's 6 inches from Gan Eden? 6 inches too short. If there was 6 inches more, they would actually go to Gan Eden. They wear skirts that barely cover the knee. Barely. Sometimes don't cover the knee at all. 6 more inches. If they would actually cover the knee, past the knee, after they sit down, it's modest. But because it doesn't cover the knee, or it covers the knee, but as soon as they sit down, it doesn't cover the knee, it's no longer modest. You're not allowed to wear it. So mamash, the fact that it's 6 inches too short is the difference between modest and not modest. And in Shamayim, modesty for women, number 1 mitzvah. It's impossible for a woman to go to Gan Eden if she's not modest. Impossible. So, mamash, you have religious women, they're trying to do their best, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that, they eat kosher, they cook this, they do that. They're great people. Nothing wrong with them as people. But apparently their Rabbanim didn't tell them that they're 6 inches away. 6 inches, mamash, 6 inches. Really, ideally, they should wear the skirts or the dresses that are all the way to the ankles. But even if you want to wear something a little shorter, you're allowed, but it has to cover a third of your calf. Has to cover a third of your calf, which the Chachamim debate whether it's 4 inches past the knee or 6 inches past the knee. Nonetheless, it's definitely past the knee after you sit down. After you sit down. Not where people just get the thing and as soon as they sit down, they keep pulling it down. Like it's, one of those stretch toys. Right. Satan tells you that it's okay, it's no big deal. 6 inches too short, 6 inches too long, it's all the same, it's 6 inches. Come on, for the Rab, the skirt is already 2 feet. 6 inches is nothing. Look at the rest of me. Understand? 6 inches. Satan tells you 6 inches is nothing. Also, matzah. Matzah, if you don't watch it carefully, 1 second makes it chametz. When you make matzah, 1 second difference, you have matzah, 18 minutes, you have 1 second difference, chametz. Meaning you have din karet. You eat chametz on Pesach, karet. Cut off from the nation. 1 second difference. We're not talking about 10 minutes. We're not talking about, cook it over a weekend. 1 minute, 1 second difference. You didn't follow the halacha, you let the matzah rise, you let the... Not kosher. 1 second. Good. Yeah. The times reported are usually before Shabbat, meaning that the times you see on, let's say, Chabad or all the applications, they are not reporting exactly. They're reporting when to light candles. But the actual Shabbat usually starts about 18 minutes after that. That's why usually when you go to the Knesset at that time, they're doing mincha. Now if you did mincha, and if it was Shabbat, you couldn't do the mincha of the week. You're still doing the mincha of the week. When does Shabbat start usually? It's supposed to be set up in a way where you're actually saying Leja Dodi. Leja Dodi, that's when Shabbat starts. You do Kabbalat Shabbat, you finish mincha, it's still regular day. You go right into Kabbalat Shabbat, you sing, you get to a section of Leja Dodi. At that moment, Shabbat started. So that's somewhere in around of the 18-20 minute range or so. They finish tefillah pretty quickly today. It's about 18 to 20 minutes after that time. But that means that you have to be the shul. You have to know when they're doing it. You can't just say, I'll just start Shabbat on my own 20 minutes after this time. No, if you're home, you start Shabbat on that time. You don't start it 20 minutes later. So you have to be careful. And why are we careful? Because again, a second difference, a minute difference, you're playing with your life. You're playing with eternity. We're not talking about you're playing with $100 or $1,000 or $100,000, you're putting it on black. You're not playing with money here. You're playing with eternity. Same thing why I told you as far as Maalit Shabbat, what is it called? The elevator of Shabbat, I told you not to use it. Because Rav Ovadia himself, when he was asked in one of his shiurim, I just don't remember where it was, one of his shiurim, he said, lo ra'ui, not, you should not doing it. It could cause a lot of problems as far as chilul Hashem. It caused a lot of issues in regards to, leading a person to sin and so on. It's lo ra'ui. It's not for someone that is observant of Torah. It's not good. If you're about tshuva brand new, they don't tell you no. But it's not ra'ui for somebody that's already been keeping Shabbat for several years. Absolutely not. In reality, you should try not to live in a place that you need to use a maalit anyway, elevator anyway. As far as the leniencies out there, of course there's leniencies out there. There's leniencies out there, but if you're going to look for leniencies your whole life, like I said over here, you're already working full-time for the Yétzer. You want to look for leniencies, good luck. That's the thing. It's not a matter of it's allowed, not allowed. There are certain things that are allowed, but you shouldn't do. So, for example, Hashem says in the Torah that if there is a war, and after you beat the enemy, they're going to have, there's women there. There's women, there's children, and so on. He says, if you see one of these women is pretty to you, one of these women in the enemy army is pretty to you, you're allowed to marry her. After she goes through a process where 30 days pretty much of mini torture, you shave her head, you make her ugly, and so on. But you're allowed to. And the reason why Hashem gave in to the people is simply because he said, I know that when you're at war, there's so much testosterone that if I told you you're not allowed, you're going to end up sinning anyway. You're going to end up going out with the goyat anyway. So you're allowed. But you have to go through a process where listen, you're not allowed to do it right now. You have to do it in 30 days. But you should know. So even though you're allowed to be with this woman, you should know you shouldn't do it. Just because you're allowed doesn't mean you should do it. There are several laws in the Torah that's allowed to do certain things, but Hashem is outright telling you should not do it. You're allowed, but you shouldn't do it. So you're allowed to use a Maalit Shabbat, a Shabbat elevator. But you should not do it. And the reason why, one of the biggest reasons, is simply because of Chilul Hashem. Now Chilul Hashem is not a small sin. Chilul Hashem is the number one sin in Judaism. If you put everything on a chart, worst thing is to desecrate the name of Hashem. Now we're not talking about in a small way. This is desecrating the name of Hashem. Has no small way. Desecrating the name of Hashem, Chazal tells us, the only way to even begin the tshuva is suffer in this world. To begin the tshuva, you must suffer in this world for Chilul Hashem. So what's Chilul Hashem with using an elevator of Shabbat? If a secular person, or the Tiloni, one of those 50-50 religious people sees you, and you have he knows you're Jewish. Doesn't matter if you wear a kippah or not. He knows you're Jewish. He sees you on the elevator. He doesn't know it's technically allowed if you don't press the buttons, if it stops by every floor, and so on. If it follows all this regimen of things, technically it's allowed. He doesn't know it. So he sees, it's all fakers. You guys are all fakers. All these religious Jews, you guys are all fakers. That's why Rav Ovadia says you should not do it. Why? Because you risk the possibility of Chilul Hashem. And if you have even 1% Yirat Shamayim, you would never go into a Shabbat elevator or any elevator on Shabbat. Unless it's Pikuach Nefesh, unless it's a life risk. But you're not allowed to go in there. So that's the reason why I told you should not go in there and not allowed to go there. Because again, I tried to have a little Yirat Shamayim, and I have tried to have some Yirat Shamayim for you as well. If I tell you go use Shabbat elevators, go do what you got to do, then the reality of it is that all of you are going to be viewed by the public as fakers. And what ends up happening is that other people are going to sin because of you. You're going to go up to Shamayim 30, 50, 100 years, whenever it's going to be, and tell, is so-and-so the Mechalel Shabbat? Is the so-and-so that desecrates Hashem's name every week? Is so-and-so the Rasha? What are you talking about? I went to Shiur Torah, I kept Shabbat, I kept this, I kept that. No, you're Rasha. Why? 60 people saw you over those weekends. They all left the religion because of you. You want to take your life at risk, you shouldn't come to Shiur Torah anymore. Go home. Don't come. If you're taking your eternity that lightly, you shouldn't come to my shiurim anymore. I'm telling you that serious. Why? I can't help you. If you're crazy, I can't fix crazy. Someone that's crazy, you can't fix him. Now, not knowledgeable, ignorant, no problem. I can help him. Teach you, educate you, try. But if you're crazy, I can't help you. You're like a terrorist. You can't beat terrorists. You know that, right? Everybody tries to beat terrorism. It's the stupidest thing in the world. You can't beat someone that's willing to die. He's voluntarily dying. You can't beat him. You do give it to them. Unfortunately, they want to kill you also along with them. That's the problem. So now if somebody is willing to take their eternity and just throw it in the air just like that, I can't help you. Can't help you. It's not, your eternity is more important to me than it is to you, which apparently means we have a problem. Yeah. Huh? Who? No. Yeah. Right. Yes. Hilul Hashem is a very big problem. Very, very, very big problem, and the problem is that most people don't realize how much of a problem it is. And the reason why is because Satan has trained them so well, they became elephants with no leash. Became elephants with no leash. And it says here in this Mishnah, it's because they started making small sins, they thought it was not a big deal, and next thing you know, they got used to it. They got used to sinning. Every sin became not a big deal, not a big deal, not a big deal, not a big deal, and eventually you have a serious...
I've heard enough. New arrival screams, echoing through the hallway to know that this ain't good. Once they pass them through the infierno, they don't come back. It's enough to make you go crazy.
Do not think we fear you, Spirit. We know your power is born of evil. This is your last night in the land of the living. You understand me, malevolent demon?
There was a rich family that lived here called the Hetheringtons, and unfortunately, their daughter passed away of a heart attack inside the house. Basically, they were so devastated that they reached out to people claiming to be psychic mediums. They actually weren't psychic mediums. They opened up a total of 11 portals inside this house and invited spirits and entities from all different kinds of dimensions.
Well, I think there are certain pieces of evidence that there is an afterlife.
Resurrection of the dead is affirmed pretty clearly in the Talmud and the Midrash.
To be honest with you, to give this lecture is a nightmare. If it was up to me, I wouldn't. There's going to be some graphic details.
This place is a maze.
That person after death went to a place called Sheol.
This is by far the largest near-death experience study that has ever been conducted.
People go to a place and they experience weird things. And sometimes they actually will see a character of some type. Well, where did that come from?
I don't know why that one chain is swinging back there. may describe feeling profoundly peaceful, seeing a bright, warm, welcoming light. Some people describe watching doctors and nurses working on them with incredible accuracy.
Next thing I knew, I was above my body watching the operation.
How long did you feel like you were gone?
I went to a place of timelessness. And so what that means, it could have been a second, could have been 5 minutes. I don't know.
Can you imagine waking up from your sleep and not being able to move?
As I'm lying there, I realized that there's an evil presence next to me.
Do you believe that angels, demons exist?
Holy shit, dude, get out of here! Oh my god, dude!
Strange things keep happening, bizarre nightmares, as if I'm on fire.
Whoa, what the hell is this? Man, I've got bad chest pain.
Satan's Hollow is what it's called, the portal to hell.
Some people calling it an eye of fire, while others said it looked like the portal to hell opening up.
And the next thing I know, I was outside of my body, looking at my body.
What I'm going to do is called claromancy, the art of throwing lots or throwing bones.
2,000 years of experience, passed down, recorded, of how demons work.
God has them all on a leash, and he lets the leash go enough to let them tempt us, because that's what makes us spiritually stronger.
I'm trying to be as graphic as possible so you understand what we're talking about.
It's your ticket to reality. It's your ticket to freedom. It's your ticket to immortality.
Is there an afterlife? Is there a
It's
God?
the type of information that can keep you away from the Yétzer.
What happens to us after we die?